vaccination consent. Okay, I have one of our guests in the studio right now. The other is on his way, but he's on standby on the line with us right now. So we're going to go over that for the next 1 hour. Spotlight is a current affairs program that dissects the top trending stories of the day the audience can, of course, relate with. And these topics range from politics, governance, health, education, business, and many more with well informed and intriguing analyst. Now, vaccination content consent in Nigeria is a crucial topic and issue, especially considering the country's history with vaccination. In the early 90s, I think Pfizer drug trials in Nigeria resulted in the deaths of about 11 children and disabilities, among others. So, issues like this have contributed significantly to mistrust and skepticism towards vaccination campaigns. But our guest, Mr. Peter Joshua, is with us in the studio. Hello, Mr. Peter. Good to have you. Yeah, good to have you.
Good morning and good to have you too.
Yeah,
Good to be
welcome.
here.
And Barrister is on the line. Barrister Doyi Enison, good to have you with us. Hello, Barrister.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you. It's quite noisy on your end. All right. Are you with us, Barrister?
Hello.
Okay,
Can you
Barrister.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, it's much better now. In 10 minutes, I should be there.
Okay, Barrister, but it's good to connect with you regardless while you find your way to the studio. Now, let's meet Peter. It's quite noisy on Barrister's end. Now, Mr. Peter, good to have you again. So, let's understand consent. What does informed consent mean in the context of vaccination? And why is it essential for, awareness? Yes, please.
Yeah, good morning and once again and thank you for having me here. Agreement between two people or more
Okay.
involving based on involving mutual consent. Agreed
Agreement.
an
Yeah.
agreement. You are aware that we want to do this thing. You agree that it should be done, and it is done. And now, consent in this regard now is for the parents of this child that is to be jabbed should be informed duly and then give his written consent before being vaccinated. And so, therefore, not by being coerced or the perhaps the school being cajoled into agreeing to allow these vaccination officials into their school to jab just anybody, but for the parents to be aware, first of all, that this is about to happen and then give their consent to the appropriate authorities before it is done. And in fact, there is a court injunction to this effect.
Okay. All right. So, what prompted the need for this?
Recently there was a case of Lagos State government intending to go into schools or instructing the Ministry of Education to, allow vaccination officials to come to their school and vaccinate every children against HPV virus. And some people deemed it fit to, question that act. If people were informed before this is being carried out, and the battle was done in the courtroom, and at the end of the day, the Federal High Court gave their injunction stating that no child, no an adult or even a female adult, child or adult should be vaccinated without the consent of their ward or guardian or parents, as you may have it, and in a written form. So you can't just go to schools, or if you go around sometimes in Lagos, you see these vaccination people carrying their box from one place to the other, from homes to around the neighborhood, or churches or schools. And the question remains, are these people informed properly? Are we sticking to the side of the law on this matter? We have to be aware about this.
Okay. All right, Barrister, are you with us?
Yes, I can hear you.
But it's really noisy on your end, Barrister. Okay, so I was asking, what does informed consent mean in the context of vaccination?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Informed consent generally has to do with giving a patient or a person in which an administration of medicine, vaccine, or anything of such is duly informed of all the necessary implications that surround such dispensation of drug or medicine or vaccination. So informed consent really is to enable such a patient or person to be able to form a decision that is voluntary and, of course, with adequate information. So informed consent is a bit above consent. So you can just say, oh, you want to get some consent from someone under rush. No, this one, there must be adequate preparation of the person's person ahead of administering the drug or vaccine or whatever. So in context of what you're saying, informed consent is very important, and you can link into someone's right to life, to personal liberty and freedom, because there is an inalienable right of every individual, including a child. So that is what I can say briefly.
All right.
On that.
So I asked Mr. Peter as well, and I want to ask you, what are the primary concerns about parents in this?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
What are the primary concerns about the parents in this? Vaccinating the children in school without consent. What are some of the fears? What are yes, what are concerns?
Some of the concern generally is the idea and the drive of forcing the dispensing of vaccination on the child. All right. The concern and the fear, as it were, is that there are a lot of things shrouded in secrecy that are not put in clear terms. All right. So a situation whereby there is force, there is coercion, there is punishment attached to, dispensing something to someone's body, then you begin to have concern that there is something beyond the normal, because the ethics of medical science is that you must adequately inform, even at the point of death. Even at the point of death, if the patient says, "Don't do this to me, I will bear the consequence," the medical ethics says you have to respect the opinion. So some of the concern generally is about the secrecy around the uncertainties around the dispensation of such drugs or vaccine on an individual, and the implication of what it could be. Because you want to put something on someone's system that is not visible, that is going to be in the system. So it can cause a ripple effect, earthwise and other risks. So those are some of the concerns. There is no certainty, there is no clarity, there is no adequate information. It's a one-sided information. They just tell you, oh, it's for you to be able to be immune from. No, 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 no. You have to state everything clearly, both the good, both the up, both the down. All right.
Okay.
So those are some of the concerns around this issue of vaccination.
All right. Now, Mr. Peter, you want to add to that?
Yeah, thank you, Barrister Doyin. Like he said, you can't tell if you want to do something and you say you have a choice to pick or not, whether to do it or not, then it's genuine. But on the note of there will be punishment to those that disobey or would not allow this to prevail, then you should ask. There should be some kind of question. Like I was saying earlier, consent is permission for something to happen or an agreement to do something. I have my choice. I have my right to say yes, I want it, or I don't want it. And when it goes beyond that, then there's coercion, and there's a secret that I am not aware of that is being enforced on me, and that is not consent.
All right. So now let's look at the parental authority. How should parents navigate the decision-making process for vaccinating their children or child?
Yeah. First of all, it still takes us back to seeking consent from the parents. You want to come to a particular school where I have my child. I should be pre-informed, not a day to when these vaccination activities would take place, but I should be informed so that I can be well read. I could understand what the implication of this vaccine or this particular jab would be for, and whether my child needs it or not. Because you can't just, you don't expect the child to have this knowledge to whether yes or not they want it. And that's why it's very important for parents to be aware,
So how can they seek knowledge?
Like I was saying,
information.
like I was saying, if perhaps something were to take place in a month's time and you're informed, you will have enough time to seek knowledge to know about what are the implications if I have this or not, if I don't have this, or if I don't allow this. Are there implications? Are there side effects to this thing if my child is given this? Or are there better chances that it could make my child better? All these are things that you need time for.
Okay.
It's a process that should be followed, other than rush it to people and just expect them to be okay with it.
Be okay with it. All right, Barrister. Now, I was asking Mr. Joshua how parents should navigate the decision-making process as regards vaccinating their child or children. What information should parents seek? Barrister, are you with us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. So I was asking, how should parents navigate the decision-making process for vaccinating their children?
Okay, so essentially, as a parent or guardian, you have the responsibility naturally is placed on you to help, as the word says, guide the child, take informed decision for what is best for that child. So, from that point of view, every parent or guardian is required and must seek to ensure that they should know that they need to ask all the necessary questions. And if you are not properly informed, you will not be able to know what right questions that you need to ask. You can just, based on lack of information, knowledge, just agree to whatever you are being told that is not accurate. So, as a parent or guardian, you must take further steps in ensuring that the way you go about putting the child to school, ensuring that child is fed, ensuring that child has grow up to become good in society. Is the same way you must ensure that administering vaccine to the system of that body of the child will go a long way in helping that child to achieve those dreams, to help that child to grow well. Because if you don't have that understanding, you will just think, oh, they are helping my child to be immune and all that. No, so it is expected from every parent or guardian to seek information. And so, one of the things we are doing now is a platform where we put out the balanced information for people to know. So there must be various media where information, especially the other side of the information, is put across to parents and guardians for them to be able to have a comprehensive understanding, which will help them form opinion in decision making for their child or work.
All right. So, Barrister, I asked Mr. Joshua earlier what prompted this move. Do you have a personal experience with a counter effect of vaccines, maybe administered to children? Was there anyone you encountered?
Okay, well, one just came to my mind. One came to my mind. What is coming to my mind right now of is a dear sister who is more like a cousin, like a distant cousin. She was, while being a child, she was administered, the regular vaccination and whatnot. Do you know that paralyzed one of her legs? That up until now, that leg, she's on unaided, how will I call it now, aided support for her to be able to walk with the second leg. So that is one of the instances of vaccinating someone with a wrong prescription or wrongly. All right. Then of course we've had cases of what we've heard and what I've read. There's an instance that comes to mind wherein a child was to be administered a vaccine in school. All right, but the parent of that child was not informed. Do you know that parent, that is the place of information. The parent was smart enough to take this up against the school. And of course, necessary compensation and that issue was addressed and all that. So from these two sides, one, the parent of the other child that I said is my distant cousin was not well informed, and the repercussion affected the child. The other one, something was done to the child, but the parent was able to take necessary steps to say, school, you cannot do this without informing me first, because I deserve and I have that right to be informed on whatever you do to my child. So those are instances that I can say they are direct, that I've had close contact with that have to do with vaccinating someone or a child rather.
All right, thank you. Now back to you, Mr. Joshua. Let's talk about cultural perspectives now. As regards vaccination, how do cultural beliefs and values influence attitudes towards vaccination consent in diverse communities, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, in cultural, from you can tell when things that are strange to cultural values are introduced, and
Okay.
before the era of vaccine pollinization and all of that, our parents or there were no known cases of a lot of this incident. For example, I like Barrister Doing said earlier about the child that was vaccinated without the parents' consent, and about the sister who took a vaccination. There were other cases I also
Mentioned, yeah.
experienced by reading or watching a particular documentary. There was this case of this young man who plays hockey in America and I think in Tennessee, and the mom took him. The mom, in this case, it was consensual, and the mom took him for the vaccination. But she asked certain questions, and he said, "Oh, you'll be fine. He just needed to build up his immune system to be better to fight against this virus in case he's introduced to it." And she allowed it to be, administered to her son. Eventually, I think she said that was the last time the young man could work or be agile. He couldn't play. He went to bed that a few days later and couldn't stand up from his bed.
Wow.
He became paralyzed. It started. I mean, he was now placed on aids to make him sit up, that he could sit up. He had to depend on people to use the restroom and so on. How can such a child continue with his life like that?
Okay.
These are just a few of the cases we know about.
Where it's been counterproductive vaccinations.
Yeah.
All right, then. So if you're listening to us, be a part of the program. We're looking at vaccination consent, creating awareness around vaccinations. Now you can call the studio line on 0805 092 0927. That's 0805 092 0927. Or you can call 0705 890 4927. That's 0705 890 4927. Send a WhatsApp message alternatively to 0705 690 0927. 0705 690 0927. All right, Barrister, over to you now. We're talking about the cultural perspective. I asked, how do cultural beliefs and values influence attitudes toward vaccination consent?
Sorry, I didn't get that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Barrister, now I said, how do you think cultural beliefs and value? All right, I have a call here. Just hold that thought, Barrister. Hello, good morning to you.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, my name is Oladejo, calling from Yaba.
All right, good to have you. How's Yaba this morning?
Yaba is fine.
Okay.
Okay. I joined the program along the line. But I want to be sure because I have my own child. I just got vaccinated in the school 2 days ago because I believe that vaccination is necessary for all these children. But I've been seeing everything flying around concerning the issue of informed consent and also. So I really want to know, is there any current development about this vaccine issue, or it has been the normal, normal belief that people have been having about vaccine? Because I saw a video and they were like, all this conspiracy theory about Bill Gates probably partnering with WHO as regards this vaccine issue. So I want to be sure, is there any new development concerning vaccine challenge, or is just a general belief we have always been having? Because people have been getting vaccinated in school. I want to know why the topic is really springing up again at this time.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So, Barrister, I believe you have the caller, Barrister and Mr. Joshua. Why the need for awareness at this time? I think that's what.
I'm sorry?
Yes, go. Barrister, did you get the caller?
I didn't get the caller. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Okay, he's asking for more information as regards vaccination consent. That why is it coming up at this time? Yes, why should he pay attention to the awareness?
Okay, so it is just the basic thing of life. You must be well informed, all right? And I'm a Christian. The scripture says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge," all right? So you should not perish for lack of proper information about vaccination. So the reason why you should be informed and have adequate information, all right, not just be informed, but have a balanced information about the vaccination is to save your life, because we are talking of health here, all right? We are talking about something being put into your system, which of course can alter your growth, your well-being, essentially your life. So you must take it as a duty. You owe a duty to yourself, all right, and of course to your child or world, to ensure that you refuse to allow anything to be administered into your body, into your system, that you cannot physically see until you ask the necessary questions, all the questions, all right? And like I said earlier, you will not be able to ask the necessary questions if you are not well informed. So platforms like this enable you to have adequate information. So one thing you should know is that don't rely only on what government is telling you. We have relied so much on government most of our lives, and we have found out that government don't, in most cases, don't give us a complete or accurate information. We have found out. So don't rely only on one source. Maybe government is doing a jingle, doing a publicity or awareness to say, oh, this must be done.
So
No.
where can a
Seek
parent,
further.
barrister, where can a parent get more information? Like for the caller now who's craving to know more, what are other, where can they get more information?
Yes, they can get more information listening to your radio station, one. All right, that is the plus of your radio station. They should always link up to your radio station and hear well-informed things about their body or their health. Then they can also read materials online. All right, look at the materials online about
Barrister,
vaccination.
you have to be specific
about
because there are a lot of materials online, so you don't want to expose yourself to the wrong materials or resources.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, well, you can also contact experts. You can engage professionals. All right, we are professionals. We are saying that you have rights. You have you must be able to refuse. Government cannot force you to do what you cannot. So you go to the experts, go to the right persons that have experience and expertise on that subject matter. All right.
Okay. Now, I can only imagine that it's fair that you know what is being injected into your child, especially at a time like this where, the world is going in a different direction. So many things springing up here and there. Now, Mr. Joshua, okay, Barrister, you were going to answer about cultural perspectives. Or Barrister, Joshua, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I wanted to add to what the caller was saying. We are quick to, believe things and also don't pay attention to what we should pay attention to. And especially with the kind of economic downturn we have, people are easy to be sold out, and their conscience are very quick to be sold, and they introduce things because he's somebody people could listen to. The wrong information could come from him, and everybody would grab into it before regrets. Then, not every articles you see online are genuine.
Anyone
intended.
can post anything.
They are not genuinely intended. Some could be to mislead the general public. Some could be there as only as a means to an end. If you go to certain website, I wouldn't mention names, and make research on the HPV virus vaccination, you'll see certain write-ups there. Why you would go to some other websites and find out that this particular vaccination is not clinically passed or tested. Vaccinations do not just are not a piece of cake that you just, bake and bring out and roll them out for general consumptions. Vaccinations go through stages. They're supposed to take years to make researches on vaccinations. Take, for example, the COVID-19, fiasco,
Yeah.
and how the vaccinations quickly came out. Then they did something. They exonerated themselves from the effect and said this thing.
Who's the they?
Well,
The makers, the manufacturers.
the Pfizer's and Dr. Fauci, the FCDs, they made it public that whatever effect comes from this, we are not, responsible.
At your own risk.
Is at your own risk because this is not clinically tested. So how can we trust further vaccinations coming from these same people? What is the clause that you should look out for?
I had a doctor earlier on the show, I think that was 2 weeks ago, that talks about the medical effects, the side effects of vaccinations. As she pointed out, some autism and some brain damage that it can cause. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good to have you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, my name is Emmanuel. I'm calling from Ikeja, Lagos.
All right, good to have you. How's Ikeja this morning?
Excellent, very well.
All right then.
Okay, so I like the discussion going on in Spire FM. I am an avid listener.
Oh, thank you.
I had a question from someone, a woman, I think, saying that her child had been vaccinated and then whether there's something the parents need to know. I wasn't quite hearing very well, but I think that's the kind of what she was asking.
Okay.
And why there were videos flying around. Please, if you can, because I want to respond to that. I think I have something to say
No,
to that.
please come again. I don't think you're clear. She was asking if parents are what?
No, I thought someone asked the question about vaccine. Whether
Yes.
the reason why videos of vaccine are flying around, whether there are something parents need to know about the vaccine that her child has been vaccinated.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Yeah. So I wanted to get her questions clear, because I think I have a response to her that can also help.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, first of all, there's no high in the studio. I think it's just me. I don't know if I'm the expert. No, but, I understand what I think, because 2 weeks ago, we mentioned that, I was saying that there was a doctor on the program.
Yeah.
And she talked about the health implications of vaccines. I remember vividly, she talked about some of the ingredients used for the vaccine, for lack of a better term. She talked about, I think there were concerns about those things used to make the vaccines and how it's counterproductive for the body.
For the health.
Yeah, for the health. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good to have you.
I was trying to say something. You cut off the line.
Oh, apologies. I thought you had. Okay, please go on.
No, I was trying to say, because she was asking if the issue with the vaccine. So I was going to say based on what I know.
Oh, I thought you were asking. Okay, please go on. Go on.
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I hope she's here and she's listening, because when I heard that question, I think that people need to know the right things. That's why right now there is an order that the vaccine should not be administered to anyone without prior written consent of the person that is receiving the vaccine. And that written consent is supposed to be informed consent. That means you need to tell the person the content of the vaccine, one, that the vaccine has been tested and proven to be good for humans, two, and that it is going through all the tests and all the processes. Now, she made a comment about Bill Gates being in Nigeria. I heard that, yes. Now, they need to know something. The public need to know something about what's going on. During COVID-19, even before COVID-19, there have been result of vaccine injuries all over the world. In Kano State, Nigeria, the government of Kano State got a judgment against a vaccine-making company because their vaccine destroyed many lives in Kano State. During COVID-19, they enforced vaccine mandates in different countries in America, in different places. If you go to America today, almost on a daily basis, there's a debate on television networks, mostly against vaccine, because Dr. Fauci and co, who spearheaded this arrangement of vaccine with their collaborators, even today, they cannot stand firmly to say that everything went to the right processes, because they didn't go to the test And so there are many deaths resulting from the vaccine use. There are many injuries. And these things are not hidden anywhere at all. And we tell people that you have to understand when they send a vaccine to Africa, to Nigeria, and say this is not to be used in America or in some countries, you should ask a question. Something is only good for Africans, but not for Americans. You should ask a question. You should ask questions. And so there have been results of vaccine issues. And someone like Bill Gates, his organization has been sponsors and funders of vaccine and drugs. He's not a doctor, but that is what they've been doing for years now. In India, there are so many injuries, and he has court cases. He has lost so many because of the work of his vaccine. So what we're saying is that Nigeria, Africa, we are not guinea pigs. Before you bring these things here, let us ask questions. Is it working for? Okay, let me raise something that will test people's mind. How is it and why is it that nowadays you see people, young people, they get married, they can hardly have children? Have you tried to observe the trend? Now, these are things we have to look at. We've been taking vaccine from when we were small. But what is inside vaccine?
Now, what would be the alternatives for vaccines?
The alternative, no. First of all, is we need the question should be asked and answered. What is in the vaccine? Is it necessary? Does it really solve any problem? The answer is there has not been any test to show that vaccine is ever useful. If you understand the sense of vaccine, it is to inject into somebody's body the disease a weak version of the disease you want to protect. It hasn't worked anywhere. And that's those who are advocating against it, that's what they're trying to say. And some of us are listening keenly to see, we need to look at this again. So our government, our own is that the government needs to...
Okay, so I asked for an alternative because would you say that a healthy lifestyle, for example, because he mentioned something about the HPV vaccine. We are told by the government and, advocates for the vaccines that it is to prevent cervical cancer on the long run for children, for females.
They should show us the test. They show us the data that shows that the HPV vaccine...
They've shown live tests.
None.
Okay.
They should show us the test and the data that shows that they have this and go through the process and that it actually does prevent the cervical cancer. It doesn't. Because this is what they say. Okay, so if you say the alternative is very simple. People need to be enlightened, first of all. What works? All right? And I can go on and on and on. But the truth is, if you're going to give someone a drug, please let us know the content of the drugs. All right? Because in these days, this has been weaponized.
All right.
Drugs and vaccines and all of that. So that's what we're trying to do. So
Thank
please,
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
That
was explicit.
I was, gearing towards that area he was expatiating on.
Okay.
All
right, just hold that thought. Let me call this number. 0805-092-0927. That's 0805-092-0927 or 0705-890-4927. We're looking at vaccination consent this morning, creating awareness around why parents should move to get consent. You don't just agree with everything you read or see. Why should your child be vaccinated without your consent, without your knowledge? So that's the big question on the program this morning. And go on.
Yeah, I was talking about, like he rightly said, vaccines are produced.
We have a call here.
And introduced to the body. Okay.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, please do well to call back 0705-890-4927. All right, go on.
Vaccines are weaker, symptoms of the virus.
Can you just hold that one more time? I promise I won't interrupt.
No problem.
you.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good to have you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Spring calling from Alagbado.
All right, welcome.
Yeah, thank God for this topic you guys raised this morning. It's a very valid one, and people need to know what's going on.
Okay.
Why is Bill Gates hell-bent on vaccinating people? Is he a doctor? Is he a medical whatever, practitioner or whatever? If he has money to spend, he should give it to the right people to do the right thing. Why is he involved? There are philanthropists that give out money for doctors to do good jobs in rural areas and all, and they don't have to get involved or anything. Why is he on top of the matter? We have learned from the era of COVID-19 that their vaccines are harmful. And they separated the vaccines to make some people in Africa, or better still, they make vaccines for Africa and make different vaccines for the United States. That's already raising an eyebrow. I love what the caller just said, the one that spoke earlier, that they have to know what the content of every vaccine is. A man made a statement and said that his daughter was vaccinated 2 days ago at the school. I am a live witness of the fact that vaccines are being issued in school, because I reach out to schools also and give them motivational talks and all. They are asking the children to tell their parents that the vaccine is for them to prevent vaginital cancer, whatever. On Monday, at the assembly, they were being told this. 2,000 students. Only God knows how many thousands of students we have in Lagos State. And their parents ignorantly said, yes, go ahead, because we don't have money for the actual treatment, so it is coming for free. Let them do it. No! They are killing the children. I've been married for 4 years now. I'm yet to have kids. My wife was fine. But when we noticed the first year, second year, we've not giving birth. I said, let me take her to the hospital. Now she has ovarian cyst.
Whoa. Sorry about that.
Looking for solution. Took her to the healing school. Took her to the doctor. It was when the doctor injected her that we noticed she now had ovarian cyst. Test the prior to that, she never had it. So now we can't even trust the hospitals anymore. Because we don't know what they are giving them as drugs. Because the doctors, the pharmacists, they collect this imported vaccine, the imported drugs, and sell to people at a price. They don't even know what is inside.
What is inside? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
In Japan now, it has been banned to have. They have banned the Gates vaccine from being administered to anybody in Japan, because they found that there are harmful particles inside the vaccine.
All right. Okay. You know what? We're on the clock now. Thank you very much. That was very explicit. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience and your thoughts. So let's begin to talk about the court injunction. Just when you wrap up that, after you wrap up that.
I wanted to just throw light to some points for everyone's sake. Everyone should get adequate information. If you listen to some of the callers and how they are passionate about these things. They have made research. They will tell you about certain countries and so on. Get information for yourself. Nobody is telling you not to take the vaccine, but get information. And also, you cannot be forced or threatened or coerced into taking something you do not want, you may not need for your body. Your health it should be very important to you. It should be first your own defense, for your own defense, before any other thing. No matter what threat comes, whether you work, I've seen someone that works in a company and then it was the COVID vaccine and he was told, either you take this vaccine or you tender your resignation, and he did. Because he felt whatever is in that thing, I cannot take it until I'm very sure it is worth it.
So beyond consent, do you think that people should have a right to say yes or no?
Yes,
if they want
you
to
have the right to say no.
vaccines?
That is what, in short, that's the main reason we are here, to create this awareness that you have a right to say no. Nobody can punish you for saying no. It's your right. It's your fundamental human right to say no.
Because the claim is that, you're putting the health of others at risk. That's the claim by the government. So everyone has to be vaccinated.
They can come up with whatever narratives, but then you have the right to say yes or no.
Or no.
And also, this is about your life.
All right. So, Barrister, thank you for staying on the line with us.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so bring us up to speed with the court injunction that you mentioned earlier. What's the position of that now?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
The court injunction, Mr. Joshua you mentioned earlier that there's a court injunction to stop the government from administering vaccines in schools.
Yes.
Please,
yes.
Yes.
So, okay, so there was an order, all right, that was given by Honorable Justice Louise Alekwa, of the Federal High Court of Lagos State, sometime in this month of October, specifically on the 15th of October, all right, essentially restraining the Lagos State government, the Ministry of Education, and some of the, there are about 7 defendants, respondents in that matter,